Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Quality hardened tool rests and live centers too. Robust. Built to turn wood. Enjoyed for a lifetime.
Thompson Lathe Tools. Welcome to a new level of professional wood-turning tools. Made by a woodturner, for woodturners. Okay, you can see I've got this rounded out on this end. I've left a little tenon that I'm going to nip off, or I might leave that on, who knows. I mean, this is going to be in the dirt outside, so I might stick it in there and give it a little support. But anyway, I've got it rounded there, so I'm coming back to this end over here, and I'm going to get my tool rest where I want it to go. When you're working with wet wood, it kind of sticks things up, so all of a sudden you have moisture on your lathe, and it's harder to move things. So you always have a can of WD-40 ready, and you're really good to go. One thing I want to show you here, I'm going to start making the cut for the tenon, and I want you to listen to how the wood reacts and what happens with the shavings, because it's hard to hear me with this thing on. But what I want to do is, okay, if I'm coming in at this angle right here, nice cut, shavings fly off really well, right? Well, I want to make the tenon, and so your instinct is I want to cut in like this. Okay, now listen. Hear that? What's happening is think of the wood grain as straws coming straight out. When I'm slicing, I'm cutting across the straws like this, which is really nice. Everything's supported. When I'm cutting across like this to make the tenon, I'm pushing, 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 and they're vibrating. They're trying to roll up on the tool. You can make this cut. I mean, you got to make it. You have no choice. Usually you use a parting tool, but that's kind of a long way to hang out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sneak up on the tenon by doing this angle cut for a while. There we go. And then once I get down close to diameter, then I'll go across. So that cuts really nice. And the diameter of my tenon is going to be, believe it or not, 25 millimeters, because that was the bit I pulled out. So we'll get this down here. We'll do a measurement on the tenon too to make sure it's right. But so anyway, if I want to start making my curve, I'm going to switch now to my big old fat spindle gouge. Oh, you shouldn't do that. You can cut your finger. And we'll just start making a bead, a little bit at a time. Just sneak up on the bead. Just work our way back. Keep coming and keep coming. This guy's going to have a fairly interesting shape to him. I think it's a guy. We'll figure it out when I'm done. Oh, that's looking good. Also, the spindle gouge, it's a little more forgiving on this push cut here. If I'm real careful, I won't get any of that vibration. But anyway, let me futz with this a little bit, and we'll be ready to take it off the lathe and move to the next thing, which will probably be the head. Before we move on to the head, I want to show you a couple things. One, I've got my tenon, and it's really nice and loose, and by the way, I lied, that's 38 millimeters. But anyway, I want that loose because this is green wood. It's going to swell, move, all that stuff. I don't want this to get out of round before I can put the thing together. So if it's real loose, I've got lots of room, and that's why, again, I want to use something like a soft glue or whatever to put this together, like a goopy glue that will fill the gaps. But right here, this is important. I flattened this off, right? Because the head's going to sit on here. So to make this outer edge touch, I'm going to come in, make one pass, and cut in and dish this out. That way the head will line up on the outside of the body and it'll look nice and seamless. Then since we're pushing in, we're going to get a good cut because remember we're cutting the fibers at an angle, so it shouldn't give us too much kickback or noise here. So we'll just come in like so. Get my bowl gouge going. It's going to be kind of dusty because we're just trimming off those little ends of the fibers of wood. There we go. And as I get here, I'm going to roll the tool down to stop it from cutting. And then just come in here and slide like so. So there we go. I'm going to now mark this right here. And that is where I'm going to cut this with my little Japanese pull saw. And we'll get this off the lathe and we'll start working on the head. Well, obviously we're working on the head right now, and it's the exact same process as doing the body, just a little bit different shape. I'm just trying to get the curve in the way I want it. I'm doing a little pull cut just to clean it up. As I did on the other one, it recesses in this way. I have a small tenon which is smaller than my drill bit, so I can drill that away when it's gone. So this way I'm holding it. These are really cool. If you turn it right, you're going to leave some bark and stuff on here, so that's how you get that look, as Brian calls it, the Geordie LaForge visor look. I think it's pretty interesting. But the one thing you want to make sure of is that the head itself is just a little bit narrower than the body. So I took some calipers here. Oops, sorry. Took calipers here, got that measurement actually over here first. So I wanted it to be about that far on the overhang. So I got that measurement, and then I went back there and made sure the head wasn't as wide, or it was that wide. One or the other. But anyway, let's take Geordie over to the drill press now, and we'll drill out those tenons right there. Okay, we're all set up. Let me show you what I'm doing. I've got a clamp here holding this really well, but I want to drill all the way through, right? Well, I'm going to go into the base of my drill press. Now, not so, because you see here, this is where the tailstock was, and so I made this small enough that this hole right here, this drops into the hole. But since this is curved under, when I drill through here, I'm still not to the metal. So that's going to be the way I'm not going to drill into the metal. Also, I have a clamp right here, so if this wants to spin and twist, I got something for it to back into so it won't get me. But anyway, we'll take our time on this. By the way, any of you trying to figure out what type of wood this is still, it smells really good, almost like cinnamon when you're turning it. So I don't know if that helps you figure out what it is. But anyway, we'll just drill away at this. This is my 38mm Forstner bit. This is a carbide tip one too, really cool. It's the cheapest one I could find on Amazon though. So it's gonna make a little smoke because this is hardwood. But anyway, we'll get this drilled through. Once we're done with this, we're moving on to the hat. I think there's a hole in there still, somewhere. We're moving a lot of wood now because we're doing the hat. We got to get this down to a really narrow thing. But if over on this end, just like the body, we've got a tenon on this end. We got it curved in that way, so when it sits on the head, this edge will touch, not the inside. So we're starting to make our shape. One thing to keep in mind as you're working with green wood, it tends to build up sap and crap and stuff all over your tools. So just take some 240 or 400 grit sandpaper, rub it on your tool, rub it on your tool rest a bit. That way you'll have a nice smooth slide as you're going across. And that really helps it because that really builds up and makes it sticky, and you kind of like that. The other thing is, now you can see I've got the tool rest angled at the shape of the hat, right? So as I turn, I just follow this and I keep making my shape. Now you might think that with a roughing gouge you couldn't do this, but this is like a very, very tiny bead that we're doing. So this thing does this beautifully. So I'd rather use this tool than a big spindle gouge right now because I can manage this one better. It wants to do that nice big sweeping line. So I'll keep removing about 10 more pounds of wood here and get this down to the shape of the hat. Turn this off, then raise the helmet or face mask. That looks pretty good. With the roughing gouge, it's really easy to make a nice gentle curve. Remember those tannins and crap I was talking about that comes out of the wood? It's going to stain your hands too. Other thing to keep in mind, if you follow this, as you see the shavings coming flying down here, well, they're hitting my arm. And you can tell that arm's a lot redder than the other, and I've actually got a couple of small cuts. So if you want to, you could probably put a shirt on It has long sleeves. Cut the sleeve off on this end so you don't get in trouble, and then have it go down here. Be a great fashion statement. You look great. Only one in your block like that. So anyway, I want to take the bowl gouge down, just round this tip off, and then we'll use the saw just to cut it off, and then we'll be ready for doing the arms. But just like a bead, you sneak up on it a little bit at a time. Remember, let's see, we got a hole in the top. If you want to hide that, just make sure you go a little bit deeper this way so you don't have a hole from the live center in there when you cut it off. That looks good. Okay, now the arms are made out of just branch wood. So picked up some branches and cut them about the same length. They're gonna be a body with a tenon on the bottom. So that's pretty simple. So I'm gonna change out to my little bitty 4-prong drive center. Oh crap. I think I remember setting it over here somewhere. When you do this, by the way, if you let this stuff dry out, you got some great fire starters. We have a chimney in the backyard that we burn a lot of stuff in. Boy, you could, oh, thank goodness. That's it. Yeah, that'd be expensive. That's a steb center. I like those things. They're really cool. Anyway, generally on a branch, you can go off the pith to find the center. But sometimes if a branch hangs, the pith rises and more wood comes underneath, so it's not always the perfect thing for finding the center. I don't have to bang this in. I just have to set it in place, put it in here, and there's a little spring on that holds it. So bring, and with this, that sap and resin is starting to gum up the ways of the lathe. I'm gonna have to clean up afterwards. So we'll go here, and we're just gonna screw this in. There we go. And this won't take any time at all to make these little bitty shapes. And then it's gonna be fun, because can't wait to build our little gnome and see what he looks like, because they're all different. They all have a different personality. There we go. We're gonna go ahead and switch tools and start making it around. We'll be done here in a shake. I switched out to my fat spindle gouge, and that helped me make a really nice ball right there. One thing I want to do is I want to come in here and undercut the edge on this, because since this is going to be sitting on the round body, you really have to get way underneath to make sure that the outer edge of this is going to touch the wood. I'm going to bring this down in size. I'm going to have to get my calipers reset, because this is actually the 25mm diameter. Because I didn't want to have to drill such a big hole in the body by hand. So I use my hand drill to do that. But we'll show you that in a second. Okay, now I'm just drilling the holes for the arms. Make sure I go deep enough here. That's pretty cool. Now for some assemblage of our gnome. So, put our arms here. It goes in there. Now this will be a little bit loose, but you can glue that in later. This one might be a little tighter. That one works pretty good. By the way, we were chatting about this. You know, first off, we made the Star Trek Geordi joke earlier. But if you look at this, take these off, little alteration, you got BB-8 from Star Wars. That would be pretty cool to put in your yard, I guess. Or if you want to get really creepy and really fun, let's see, put the hat on so you can see how that looks right now. That looks good, huh? You like it? You could try this. Our minion that we sacrificed a while back, loan to C's eyes. That's different, all right, isn't it? But anyway, why don't we take these fellows, or take our gnomes and go outside and put them to work. Creaky, haunted wood shop. Anyway, let's see, I don't want to step on my wife's pansies, but here you go. That's how you make garden gnomes. No sanding, no finish, no muss. Out of green wood that you can get anywhere for free. I hope you enjoyed that. Until the next time on Wood Turning, keep turning.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Quality hardened tool rests and live centers too. Robust. Built to turn wood. Enjoyed for a lifetime.
Thompson Lathe Tools. Welcome to a new level of professional wood turning tools. Made by a wood turner for wood turners.